We have a guest in the studio. He's a senator for Kiambu County. Before we welcome him, let him hear the day's proverb from CT Muga, who's reading it from his 14.6 inch screen.
Go on.
33%.
33%.
Go on.
What?
Amulet.
Or
Smash protector.
God Almighty. Okay, now, we're in the country of Lesotho. Okay? Written Lesotho, but pronounced Lesotho. Right. If you are a flag, follow the wind.
If you're a flag, follow the wind.
Yes.
So if you don't follow the wind, you're not a flag.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that, but...
Just be a truant flag. Faushikwe.
But honestly, this proverb, if you think about it, it sounds rather obvious, but I don't know. What else could you do if you're a flag beyond?
Flag.
Because, yes, what gives a flag prominence is when it flutters in the wind. When it's drooping and not fluttering in the wind, one barely pays any attention to it.
And that's the whole point.
Okay.
You want to be seen. Flutter in the wind.
Ebujio.
Ionyeshe. Jitokeze. Simama. Mbele watu.
No, that was a QE.
It's a QE ad.
Yes.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Senator KARUNGO, THANG'WA can sing it for you. Good morning, Senator.
They have to pay me a lot of money, though.
Senator, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation again.
Asante.
Now as Senator of Kiambu County, representing the millions of people
Yes.
who are voters in Kiambu.
True.
Now, you know, Ndu was saying that she's been following you and she's been trying to see, how do I pronounce this person's name? And you've been running some tutorials on your social media.
Yeah.
There's a tutorial on how to pronounce my name, Ndu.
Yeah.
Having followed,
Yes.
now please
And
pronounce the
being a good
senator's name.
student.
Yes.
KARUNGO. KARUNGO THANG'WA.
You're doing well.
Thank you very much.
You're doing well.
Followed.
Yeah.
Ameshika?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's a difficult name. Even my friends used to ask me, "What's your real name?"
What
what
actually
are your
is
real
name?
names?
So yeah, we get the KARUNGO thing.
Yeah.
What's your name?
I get that all the time, so I understand exactly what you mean.
It sounds like a nickname. But yeah, that's my real names. My name is KARUNGO, and my father is THANG'WA.
I love it.
Yes.
So you're KARUNGO wa
Wa
THANG'WA.
THANG'WA. Yeah, son of.
Very good. Karibu sana Mheshimiwa.
Yes.
You are one of those people who are actually in the Senate, and you bring in wealth of experience in
Yes.
matters of protecting devolution.
Right.
In 2013, you were elected as an MCA.
True.
In 2017, you were appointed as a CEC in Kiambu.
Yes.
Which year were you?
Appointed 2018.
In 2018.
Yes, at the end of 2018.
And when were you impeached? by the
Was
County
I?
Assembly?
Was I?
Okay, that was the matter before court, and that's why now you're arguing like that. So
Yes.
when were the county assembly members of Kiambu attempting to impeach you?
It was in 2019.
In
At the
2019.
end of 2019.
At the end of
That is in
2019.
October.
Okay.
Yes.
And now you are a senator.
Yes.
So you've dealt with the county assembly, you've dealt with the executive, now you're dealing with the Senate.
Yes.
Mambo ya devolution, wewe nayo, same was up. In fact, group had been.
Yes. True.
Now, many things are happening. Let's first of all start with the latest, which is Kiambu County. We have seen in the news that MCAs in Kiambu County are at loggerheads with the governor. And it's with regards to very many other things. But the one that we saw in the news was one MCA saying, Mr. Governor, stop using your foundation. What exactly is happening in Kiambu? What's the matter?
You know, and first of all, I would want to thank the MCAs in Kiambu County because they did not rush to say we are going to impeach somebody. They did not say we are going to remove somebody from the office. What they wanted is to have a dialogue with the governor. And that's why they were camping in his office. And finally, he met them yesterday. But there are so many issues, and not just the Kiambu County government. Even when you remember the issue of Governor of Meru, Kawera, there was also that issue of the governor is executing his mandate, through foundations. You know, before, many politicians, they do have foundations that used to help wananchi uko kando. But when you are voted for as a governor, I mean, the best thing is to know the government already has structures. So instead of creating your own structures, just use the laid down structures by the previous county government. So the issue is the MCAs are complaining, one, the governor is not involving them. And this one, I do not understand why a governor would not want to involve an MCA. You know, you have already been given somebody at the ward level to work with. Why bring another one? You know,
involving them in what?
You know, involving them. First of all, the MCA is the person who is closest to Wanjiku. Okay, so they understand and they know what Wanjiku is going through. So the Mwananchi, whenever they have anything, from the slightest thing of bursary, roads, even call them society or community gatherings, the MCAs are the ones that are contacted by the Mwananchi. So he must have answers. So if you go to the governor is not providing these answers, or he's providing these answers through another person, then that's why there's disconnect. And that's why there will be an issue. Because if you are, I experienced that myself when I was an MCA, as you said, between 2013 and 2017, whereby I'll be in the assembly doing my business. Then I hear the governor is at my ward issuing bursary. You know, there's nothing wrong with that, but at least I involve me in that kind of process. So that is the issue. And if the governor is not learning from the first governor of Kiambu County, the second one, at least learn from the third one. You know, that if you bypass an MCA, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult.
This bursary issue seems to be a bone of contention, especially then when we're looking at whatever squabbles or power struggles there are between MCAs and governors. But the bursary issue is a big deal. Why?
First of all, I have a problem with the whole process of issuing bursary, because I ask myself, and that's why we are now in government, because we have to change a few things. Because I ask myself, why does the government give you money to pay government? you know, that is something that we need to discuss, but it's an emotive issue, because
in an era of free education.
Yeah, because if instead of giving me money to go pay you, just make secondary education free for all. So those are some of the things that we will be discussing, or it's on the table as we speak. But issuing bursary, the way our politics is wired, people will ask you, what have you done for me? I have voted for you. What have you done for me? What have you done, at least for the society? So if I did not participate in issuing bursary, people will say, you are not there when it was issued. So you are not doing anything.
It's a tool for relevance and expedience.
We can say that. Politically, it gives people political mileage.
Yeah.
And that's why even the MPs are fighting for CDF and all that, because that is when you have the contact with Mwananchi. And the current Mwananchi, they measure your work through what they see, you know, because I'm a legislature. My work is to work in parliament. Oversight, I have to ask the questions to the government, and representation, now just amplify their voices. But the Mwananchi will ask you, okay, what have you done? Which school have you built? Which classes have you refurbished, or something like that? How many people did you give bursary? How many people did you even employ? You know, so that is how politics in Kenya are wired. But until we change that, this issue will always be coming. Yes.
Mheshimiwa, do I hear you to be saying that if the issues that keep coming up with regards to schools were taken care of by the government,
yes,
if issues that relate to healthcare and health services were again taken care of by the government,
yes,
that the expectation of the Mwananchi to actually have their locally elected leaders to look into these matters would actually cease.
Yes, that's true.
So the focus would now be different.
Focus will be different, and I can give you a very good example of the Hustler Fund. The Hustler Fund, the way it was made, it has removed the politicians from, you know, disbursing or giving out this money.
Yes.
So it is the Mwananchi and your phone. Okay, initially there was Uwezo, there was a youth fund, women fund. Yes. Even in Kiambu, they had theirs called Jijenge Fund. And the politicians were supposed to go now to the village and tell people, you're using it as going to the people to tell them, come for this.
It's a vehicle.
Yeah. So, but now Hustler Fund comes. You don't hear anybody complaining. It's you and your phone and your government. It's not that Mheshimiwa Fulani hatupati. So if politicians, we can all understand if we automate or we use technology in some of these things, it's going to be very easy. I don't have to go to Mheshimiwa to get bursary. I can only apply to the government through the government offices. And because you asked about bursary, the MCA gives bursary. That is the governor and the MCA. The MP gives bursary.
Yep.
The president gives bursary.
Yep.
Or other corporate entities.
Governor.
Even governor gives
governor
bursary.
has a bursary.
All the other corporate, like Equity, Wings to Fly, all those banks and all that. Now, look at all those people. Whom do they give bursary to?
Same child.
The same child. Because when you go to the village, those people who are wale wamevuta aerial, they understand what
Those
is
are the
happening.
ones who know how
So
to
they
apply.
will apply to the MCA, apply to the MP, apply to
Every
Wings to Fly.
applicable source.
Yes.
Yeah.
And since they are the opinion shapers in that area, every politician will give them. So that child has supplies, even in school. They even organize with the head teachers. No, nimelipiwa mingi, hii ingine overflow kwa huyu mwingine. So if we automate this, just like the Hustler Fund, I think all these problems of you're not involving me, I'm the one to dish out this money, because some use it for political mileage. I mean, why would you give somebody 1,000 as bursary?
Yeah.
Or 2,000? If we're trying to help people, I mean, go to the vulnerable.
Right.
You cannot say that you're vulnerable today and you're not tomorrow. I mean, there's a duration.
Yeah. So if we're looking at the issues that are currently facing Kiambu County between the members of the county assembly and the governor's office, would you then say, if this issue of automation of these processes, so let's say because we've argued that before, we said, look, you have so many, from the president to the MCA, everybody's dishing out something. So if you consolidate all of that, if it was necessary to do, that would be one way to, just stop all this drama.
Yes.
But if that is the bone of contention between MCAs and the governor, if you automated this thing, would that solve the problems that we are seeing that are burning at Kiambu at the moment?
Yes, of course. Automation is more of transparency. It also gives information. And when you withhold any information to a politician, that is a recipe for disaster. Because it seems you're doing something. You're hiding. Why are you hiding this information? So if it is automated, believe you me, one, the MCA will understand what is happening. His work will be, go to this platform and do this, go and apply. So you actually send the task to Mwananchi. Because you see, the current way things are done, Mwananchi comes to you, tells all the problem, you have even to think for them, per se, I can say that. But if you tell them, hey, this is how it's supposed to be done, take an initiative. So automation, I believe, is going to help so many things. And I can give an example of Dubai. Dubai, they have a ministry for happiness. Yeah, they actually have a minister, all right? And I was asking one of people there, I mean, what does he do, this minister? I mean, of course, they say it's not cracking jokes or something like that. But what they do is to have collect information in government offices from the Mwananchi. Were you happy? I mean, were you served well? When you go to the bank, they ask you, rate me. Click this simile, this happy face, or So all government entities and offices, they have that button somewhere. After you serve me, I have to click it. So it goes all the way to the ministry to know who is happy, who is working well, and all that. So automation, of course, will always help.
So then the MCAs do not have a problem with the Governor Matangi?
There is a problem.
An individual?
No. They don't have a problem as an individual. They only have a problem with the way he works. Okay? And he's a former senator. Probably. And that's why, for me, I've never said anything as to his leadership style, because I know you need to adjust. The Senate, the way things are done is different.
Right.
You know, we have meetings, committee meetings. You give your problem to somebody else to solve them. Okay, you highlight them. This is a problem, and then you tell that person to fix it. But when you become a governor, you are the fixer.
It's you.
Yeah, it's you. You have to fix it. So if he has not, moved from the senator to the governor, I mean, that would be the problem.
You'll have issues.
Yeah.
However, MCAs also need to be reined in, and maybe that's where the question would come. Because why is it that you have to arm twist a governor? Look, the governor has offices all the way to the ward level. There's a ward admin. That is the representative of the governor at the ward level.
Yes.
And that is the representative of the executive at the ward level. If this is an executive program of disbursement of bursaries or collecting of views for, policy implementation and such, why does the MCA have to insist that you have to use me? Find your own structure and work with your structure and bring your issues to the county assembly and raise questions and ask me questions and ask me to implement. But I also have my officer on the ground, a ward admin.
Yes. And this goes back to when we were campaigning. You campaign as a team, work as a team. You cannot say I was telling people to vote for you, but when you get in office, you tell me, hey, I'm elected. Just do your work, I do my work. All right? As much as I have a legal mandate of oversight to the governor, there's also a moral mandate. I told people to vote for him. So if he doesn't perform, I'm equally to blame. So even if the governor has an officer at the ward level, we are not saying the MCA want to do the road, literally. I want to have a grader. I'm the one who is, grading the roads. No. All I want to know, you're coming to my ward. Yes. I passed this money or I budgeted for this road. True. You did the tendering. I want to know the process because I want to know how much is this road costing.
But all
so that I can do the oversight.
Possible in the county assembly. That is actually the job that you do in the county assembly. In the county assembly, you seek to understand.
Yes.
How are you? First of all, I am the one who's going to approve your budget.
Yes.
And I want to see how much money have you allocated for that road in my ward. After I know that there's a road in my ward that's been allocated for X amount of money, then I'll follow up and see the advertisement for the tenders, the award for the tenders, the progress implementation. Why does the MCA want to be involved at the point of tendering and all those other things?
Not being involved at the point of tendering. All the MCA want is information. Because let me tell you, we are in a world that Mwananchi want to know what you're doing, what you're planning. So if you do not even have the information to give that information, to pass it across to Mwananchi, then you're irrelevant. So if I don't know when the road is going to be done, then the governor uses another politician in my village or in my ward who has more information than the MCA, telling them, I'm coming to make this road.
What would be the reason? And that's what I'm really trying to get to here. Why would... even we saw the examples in Meru. Why would the governor use somebody else when there are MCAs who've been duly elected for this representation role? Why would he go pick somebody else to go with him to view projects around the county?
I think there are two things here. There are two reasons I can think of. One is that the governor is afraid of empowering the MCA. He thinks that person, if I empower him, he will be taking over from me, or he'll be, he's just afraid. There are those people who do not understand, empowering and mentoring a leader. You don't know about tomorrow, So that is one reason. Two, the governor or those governors are making their structures for the next election. Okay? And that's why some of them are using the foundations. Because if you employ so many people in the foundation, it's like having a parallel government. Okay? So they're trying to make it's a campaign tool for the next election. But the MCAs understand that. They can see. They can see.
And I think that's where the issue is. It's it's competition for who has a better grassroots mobilization.
True.
Because even as the MCA, we hosted the DMK, the MCA minority whip from Meru County.
Yes.
And it's the same kind of explanation that he was giving. And if you think about it, it's like the MCA also wants to be able to, for example, it's Bursary. He is the one who's involved in the forming of the Bursary committee.
Yeah.
And that ward development chairperson, maybe the ward development fund, the ward development chairperson, he's establishing his own networks. So that then he has people in every village who will go and say, yes, you see our MCA, you see that road, it's him. You see that school, it's him. You see that ECD, it's him. You see the bursary that went to all these children in these schools, it's this. It's the same thing that it's those two politicians basically trying to establish a network and fighting over who has the right to establish a better network.
But there's something worse than that. And what is worse is this in my mind. It's like whether it is the MCA, whether it is the governors, the people we're discussing, and whether it is the senators, it's like there is at our fingertips and available to us other mechanisms that we can ensure these bursaries get paid without necessarily issuing a check physically. The MCAs can pass laws. It's one of the things that they can do even within the assembly. These mechanisms for doing things, they can go about it now. You are a senator.
Yes.
One of the things that you people also do is something similar.
Yes.
Okay? Now, if we removed the current methods that we have, which is really very basic, where I, as a person, goes and gives checks to individuals so that it is seen that I'm the one giving it. If we instead had a system that achieves the same thing, would this then not remove this back and forth and back and forth? But I'm saying, and why I call it worse, the very politicians who could do this are the ones who are entrenching this particular process.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. But like in the case of Kiambu, there is an education act, Bursary Act. And it actually explains well how you form these committees at the ward level. They must have a chairman who are, given that positions competitively. And it is the work of the governor. There is no problem because the law says it's the governor to go and form these committees, but it must be competitive, meaning must be advertised, there must be interviews and all that. But as I said, the society that we represent, they want to know you're doing something.
They want to see tangible.
They want to see you. They say, we even have a Bursary committee, na mheshimiwa wetu hakuweka hata mtu mmoja. So the issue is that, and that's why we're talking about the automation or coming up in a different way of disbursing this kind of monies, is to solve all those things. Myself at the ward level, I had no issue. Whoever you put there, he comes from there. He comes from that ward. Just put whoever you're going to put in there. Yeah. As long as you don't bring somebody from a different ward, that's no problem. But there are those who feel that this should be done through them, through their hands. He must go to a church and you say, mnajua, mimi ndio nilipatia huyo chairman, apigiwe makofi, na mambo iendelee.
Yes. Yeah. That's what we're seeing happening anyway, even at national level. We have a very good person in this ministry, and I had to play a hand in getting them there. He's a very good man. Yeah. It's 27 minutes to 8. This is Kenya's biggest conversation. The Senator for Kiambu County, the Honorable KARUNGO, is our guest this morning. We're talking about the relationship between County Assembly, the Governor's Office, the Senate, and also the National Assembly. What is the relationship between all those politicians? We're seeing friction. We saw friction in Meru, led to the impeachment by the County Assembly. It was not sanctioned by the Senate. We are seeing issues in Kiambu County. The governor of Kiambu County has met with the MCAs of Kiambu, and they're saying, okay, let's talk. Let's understand one another, move on. Let's take a break.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Conversation continues with the Honorable KARUNGO, Senator, Kiambu County. Talking about how the relationship between all these various arms and departments of government, a county executive, county assembly, the Senate, and then there are elected members of the National Assembly. So what we are seeing, for example, now happening is the national leadership of the country, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, is meeting with the various leaders from Meru to try and bring some semblance of peace in Meru. He has met with elected members of parliament and the senator. He has met with the MCAs. He's due to meet with the governor to bring them to work together. Must these people work together?
Of course, they are laid down measures or processes of how everybody is supposed to work. The executive is a different arm of government, the legislation a different arm of government. Working together does not necessarily mean you are together, literally. But all that is required is, as you execute your mandate, you respect other leaders. And I'm really happy that the Deputy President has taken it upon himself to talk to these leaders who are having wrangles here and there. Because, as I said earlier, we are also to blame because we told people vote for these people. So if we vote for you, it doesn't mean that we stop there. Whenever we see there's a problem, now we have to come and tell you, hey, man, we voted for you. We asked people. And that's why he was even asking the governor of Nairobi. Yeah, we told people to vote for you. So you cannot just tell us that we cannot question you. Okay? So this one is something that has never been done in this country.
Right.
Because if you look previously, there was Governor Waititu, there was Governor Sonko. And actually, the parties that really campaigned for these people are the one who are kicking them out. So morally, you were to ask them, you told us to vote for this person. So even you could have done your due diligence.
You have a responsibility.
Yes, there's a responsibility. So I'm glad that the Deputy President has met with the leaders in Meru. And I can tell you the atmosphere has changed. Of course, they're going to work together. And if you remember very well, when the governor was at the Senate, he said the issue was the ward fund. What is the ward fund? Ward fund as it is, the name fund already is an issue when it comes to legal, the way things are done. And that's why even CDF has had problems.
Yep.
So the question we should ask ourselves, if an MP is fighting for CDF, what's wrong with the MCA having a WDF?
Okay.
All right? If at all, we really want to nurture even this leadership. And I can tell any governor for free, from the experience that I've had as an MCA and as an executive, if you want peace with the MCAs, let's have that ward development. Don't call it fund. You can call it equitable distribution of resources or development to the ward. You say every ward, I'm giving 20 or 30 or 40 million for development. Then you leave the MCAs with the people to propose the projects that they want to do. At that particular time, when the MCA is doing that, he already know we have 40 million. But today, the MCA cannot do that. He cannot say, which road do you want? Because he doesn't know whether the governor will prioritize that. So the issue is, let the MCA, because he's an elected leader, why were we electing them? Why were we electing MPs or even senators? So the issue is that, and we are doing that at the Senate. We are coming up with that law. We are drafting the bill to make sure at least the money for development that the county budgets for, a certain percentage must be given to the ward. Development money. So that the governor can, maybe you can say 40% to be divided equally per ward. Then the other percentage, now the governor can do flagship programs, the big programs. So for us,
so you're saying it's important. It's important to factor in the fact that the MCA, as an elected representative of the people, will be asked those questions by the people. What have you done?
Yes.
And you need to then support them in saying what they've done.
Yes.
Yeah. Is it the same logic being used for the Senate Oversight Fund?
For us, it's a bit different. It's a bit different when it comes to doing oversight, because what is oversight? And this is where people get lost. You see, sometimes we wait for the Auditor General to do his audits, and then he gives us the report. That is the way the structures are wired. So we are the mercy of the Auditor General. If he brings a report, says the governor has stolen, now we pick it up there to start summoning the governor and asking. Maybe the governor was not in good terms with the Auditor General. Maybe those who are in good terms, because you see, when they do the auditing, when the Auditor General do the auditing, they first of all give a management letter to the county governor for him or her to see all the mistakes. And then that is the final letter for them to rectify. So the governor will say, oh, if this goes to the Senate, I'm done. So calls the Auditor General. And that's why all the reports for the Auditor General are the same, because they use a template. Look at all the water companies in our counties. All their reports are the same. If you read the Kiambu Water Company and you read Nairobi Water Company, those audit reports, you can even pick word per word, you know? So the senator is only waiting to be told by the Auditor General. So that's why we need an office. I can initiate the process myself. I can oversighting the county government. I see probably the governor has maybe launched a stadium, is building, groundbreaking and all that. Within that period of groundbreaking, I can initiate as a senator through the office, through those auditors in my office, through those people who understand procurement procedures and all that, so that we curb stealing at the beginning. We don't have to wait for a whole year when the governor has stolen, has talked to the Auditor General, has managed the outcome. Then we come and ask a question later on. So the oversight fund, and that's why we are not asking a development fund, because we understand the development is the prerogative of the executive. We only need, and the reason why they are calling, I was actually telling them the other day, my colleagues, that we shouldn't even call it fund. Because that is the issue. Because mwananchi akisikia tena nimepatiwa pesa ya oversight, ataniuliza pesa yangu ya oversight iko wapi? All we want is working offices.
Sure.
Yes.
Looking at it from the point, okay, so from the county assembly, you've been a part of, so you get it. It does seem an awful lot like this whole impeachment threat is used against governors. It just looks as though, look, I'm sure we could pinpoint other counties through the country where this might be happening. Is it then used as a threat to then be able to get the governor to toe the particular line that MCAs are looking for, like, do this, or, we will then bring impeachment proceedings against you? It does seem an awful lot like that. Whereas this side, which has been proven through history to be able to work, where people actually sit down and iron out whatever issues need to be ironed out. Because remember, at the end of the day, that the governor is the county boss, sorting out issues and managerial and administration for the county. MCAs represent the people. You have no choice but to work together. It does seem as though it's being dangled. The threat often looms over the governor's head. Like, if I don't do what these guys want me to do, the threat of them getting rid of me then is very real, and it seems a bit unfair.
True, I agree with you. Sometimes the MCAs are using the impeachment card to twist the governors. And that's why when we were looking at the case of Meru, we were telling everybody, impeachment is the nuclear option. After you have tried every other thing, you cannot impeach somebody for calling you Mberwa. Berwa is a fox. I learned that in Meru. A witness stands there and says the governor should go because he called me Berwa. I mean, it's wrong, but it's not gross per se. There could be some other context. You cannot impeach a governor because he made you feel
a certain type of way.
Yeah. So what I would want to say, it's a political process. Sometimes it brings balances. But having gone through that process almost to the end, I do understand that myself and my conviction is that it shouldn't be and that's why I was asking the MCAs, have you brought any other motion? I mean, have you tried to bring a statement, whatever you're accusing the governor of here, have you used your assembly to bring a motion or to a statement asking these questions? Because probably if you did, then you'll even have more evidence. Because you'll be putting it on the table and say, I asked this and he gave me this. So all we have to do is to make sure that this process is not misused. Impeachment. Of course, it should be there. But the county governments are young and the leaders that we elect probably not very experienced. So for us to make sure that this is not misused, we are coming up with the impeachment bill at the Senate. We are going to lay down the structures and processes so that even if it comes to the Senate, it must be a watertight case. It must be something that when you look at it, it means this person must go. So that is what we are working on. And the question that I would want to, and the same thing has actually got into the heads of some MPs and senators, You're hearing them say, we are going to impeach the deputy president, we are going to impeach. You know, we want to do away.
But Mheshimiwa, if you say you're coming up with some legislation regarding impeachment, don't you see that what you are then saying is that the senators are insulating themselves from impeachment as and when some of them become governors?
No, not really. Probably, it could be true, could be right. But
because you're making it very difficult to impeach.
No, you're not making it difficult.
I'm telling you how it will be seen as, not what it will be.
Okay.
Yes.
But you see, right now as it is, even the processes that the Kiambu County Assembly, the MCA can come today, we are going to impeach you. Tomorrow, emotions, goes 4 days, 5 days, the governor is gone.
Yes.
No, because you're working with emotions.
What is the threshold in terms of numbers?
Numbers sometimes don't matter. You know,
what is the threshold?
75%.
There you go. If 75% of MCAs actually have an issue with the governor,
there's a problem.
They should raise that.
No, mob justice is illegal. You know, let me tell you.
And that's why there's a second tier called the Senate.
Yes.
But before it comes to the Senate, and these are recommendations that we have, the MCAs must be given some time. Okay, we are not saying don't impeach. We are not saying don't remove. But there must be time. We don't want to people the heat of the moment, you know. And you know there are so many politicians down there who are eyeing
the governor's seat.
You know. So they will actually come and oil these processes so that the governor go home and then somebody else can take over.
I almost hear you saying.
Go ahead. No.
I almost hear you saying that by the time you're going to the impeachment option, that it must be something so serious.
Yes.
That it's not just, okay, well, I woke up this morning and somebody called me a fox and I'm feeling a certain type of way. So let me go and impeach.
Yes.
It's got to be something really serious that we've all, and that there's concert of agreement,
yes.
And we say, look, this thing is so serious that we must then go for the impeachment option, not just your run-of-the-mill Tuesday morning, I'm feeling like this, let's go impeach. That's what I hear you saying.
You're right. It should be the nuclear option. I mean, we do have other bodies that are supposed to keep check the governors. We have the EACC. You know, we have the DCI.
Yeah.
If he commits a crime, I mean, it should be reported. Even when somebody calls you a fox, go to the police first and come with the OB. They are investigated. Don't rush to the Senate. I mean, use all the other processes that are there so that by the time we get to the removal of somebody, and you know, the law is when you look at the way it is done for impeachment, the moment you're impeached, you can never be anybody in this country. You can never be, which is actually also wrong.
No, I think that is the very purpose.
No.
Because impeachment is such a serious thing.
Yes.
That you must have a serious reason to bring it about,
Yes,
though.
so that by the time it has been determined that you will be impeached,
yes.
It means you have done so many wrong things
Yes.
that you are actually unfit for public office.
Exactly my point.
Yes.
That's why we should make that process not very easy. You know, not to wake up today and somebody, just because they don't like you or they see your star is shining, they block you
But
at the end.
let me present a different perspective here. Don't you think that even as we are having this discussion, what we're adjudicating is not what MCAs do, it's not impeachment, but it's our political processes.
Yes.
Because how do we get to a point where, as you say correctly, the governor knows that they're laid down procedures for doing certain things, and they don't? So, where's the check and balance?
Yes.
MCAs also understand that there are laid down rules that are required of them to achieve certain ends. And yet you find there are all these squabbles. Why? We are saying because the people will interpret this. How did the people get to a point where every time you mention money, they just wait for you to stop talking and say, where's mine? Okay?
Yeah.
How did we, because it's not that they got there, how did we get them there? Now, it is again, you politicians,
yes.
and the way you go about our politics that has brought about this same situation that we're now adjudicating.
And we're trying to cure that.
I'm telling you, I hear what you're saying, but a part of me is getting uncomfortable with trying to come up with that legislation that adds several steps to impeachment. Because if you make it more difficult to impeach, it means that the governor can now sit back arrogantly knowing you don't have a stake even in your oversight role as county assembly. You'll ask your questions. I will choose to respond to them or I might choose not to respond to them.
We're not making
if we say that, the process, it's the same thing that was done with the members of parliament. The process of impeaching, of recalling an MP was made so difficult that people just said,
Nobody
forget about
bothers.
this thing.
Yeah.
Right? If we make it as difficult to impeach an MCA, then you're removing a very powerful tool that the county assembly has in oversighting the executive.
No, we are not making it difficult. We are just, clearing the bushes.
For example, give an example.
For example, when the MCA comes with a motion, he must get signatures from other MCAs so that the speaker now can bring the motion on the floor of the House. When the motion is brought in the floor of the House, the governor is given an opportunity to defend himself. He's not given any document as no evidence. He's just told, you have stolen. You come and sit in the House and you listen. When the governor listens, he is given an opportunity to reply. So it is his word against their word. There is no document. Where he's accused of stealing, he cannot come and say, I did not steal. This is a document. Because he did not have his, what do you call them? When you're taken to court,
Right of
you
reply.
first of all given your case.
Yeah.
For you now to look for a lawyer and bring evidence. So what you are saying is that at the county assembly, before you debate, form a committee. The governor should, the way we invite the governors at the Senate, the governor should be invited at by
county
the
assembly.
MCA. So he's not seeing, the governors right now as we speak, they see evidence for the first time at the Senate. That's what they do. They see evidence for the first time at the Senate. So we want them to see it. So that by the time he comes to the Senate, they have looked at even the MCA, some of them can say, this was just a joke. They can change their mind there. But the way it is set, when they say the governor should go, they just let it. They even say ayes and nays. Can you imagine? Somebody is saying you are a thief by voting.
By acclamation.
Yeah, without even looking at all these things. And the reason why I'm very passionate about this, and that's why when I was put in this committee, I was also on trial myself. In the Bible, there's this servant who owed the king some money. So the king decided to sell his wife, the children, and all those so that he can repay the debt. But the servant cried unto the king, and the king forgave and told him, go home, your money is forgiven and all that. But on his way home, he met another guy who owed him some money, and he beat him up.
Threw him in jail.
Yeah. And then, so the king heard this story and he put him in jail. Up to today, he has never been released. So when I was put in this committee, I was like, I almost went through the same process.
You were the servant.
I was this servant, and I was forgiven, and I knew for sure whatever the MCAs were accusing, I knew for sure, I'm not defending myself, but I knew there was nothing.
No,
it was zero game.
You've gone through that experience, so you understand it
You
well.
understand.
I understand it well. So that's why we were asking those questions, so that we help the committee to make a decision. And since this one came through that way, that's why we have to come up with this law from the experience that we have had.
But there isn't a body of evidence that will support what you're doing in this sense. We have 47 counties.
Yes.
2 counties are the ones which have issues. Even if you look at the previous 5-year cycle, how many counties wanted to impeach their governor? So you have to ask, is it that there's something wrong with the MCAs in these counties, or is there something peculiar about the governor?
Or if you look at the other side, is this as posing, even if it's just 2, is it then posing as an example that others can pick up on and say, well, okay, look, if we then have a squabble with our governor, hey, guess what we can do? We can impeach. People are watching and taking as an example, okay, Meru, Kiambu, if we have a problem here, we can take the impeachment option. It's also serving as an example for other folks who think that the next thing that you can do, as opposed to sitting and sorting out issues, is go ahead and impeach.
And Senator, the truth of the matter is this. There's the sort of money that counties get. It has a dizzying effect. It's been my view, and it's still my view.
Yeah.
Governors get there, and you can see this person is getting confused. You can actually see the things they do, the things they say. You wonder, what's happened to this person? Now, what you people are trying to cure is, in my mind, the check and balance that we actually provide so that the governor is sober. Even when they try to be a little high, they're told, excuse me, Yes, come back.
You're drunk. Go
Yeah,
home.
yes. It's the same reason why when we say that our parliament, our National Assembly has been held captive by the executive, it's for that same reason. Because part of their job is to keep the government in check. They are part of the government, but that's their role, as is your role. Now, when you find that every decision that the government wants to make, you side with the wonder, so what are these guys doing exactly?
They lose it.
Yes.
We'll keep observing though what happens in all these counties. Right?
Yeah.
So we know, Meru has had an issue. Even in the Senate during these impeachment hearings, we had Senator, was it Khalwale, who said we are getting rumors of things happening in Kisii, in Nakuru, in other counties as well. Let's hope we don't get there. But governors ought to toe the line.
That's my prayer too. But you need to understand that when these people are elected, they were never governors before, so they need some time to learn. It's like a teacher given a hospital to run. So they need to first of all understand is
Why did they give the teacher the hospital run in the first place?
Because the teacher applied.
because the teacher applied. So
Wangemwambia we kwenda kwa headmaster or headmistress.
Senator KARUNGO, thank you very much for joining us.
asante.